We Are Pilgrims, Journeys in Search of Ourselves, the prologue. August 2019, Suffolk, and 2 years into a journey to understand why we are pilgrims, I pause for a moment and unfurl the map to get a view of the road ahead. The path itself is many thousands of years old, and for every cycle of the seasons, 200 million pairs of pilgrim feet will pass this way, each person with a unique reason for their pilgrim journey. This track of faith and kinship, hope and redemption, solace and gratitude, winds through a landscape of sacred trees, rocks, rivers and waterfalls. There are holy mountains too, and from their peaks you can see the heavenly bodies above and a field of stars below. Signposts point out the places where heaven and earth are closer, where God resides, where gods once fought, where lotus petals fell into blue lakes, where mystical rivers converge with living streams, places where it is possible for people to attain freedom from desire, including the desire for that very freedom. This meandering human journey flows through time and space, across land and sea, and despite the distance, the horizon seems ever close in this world that has no vestige of a beginning, no prospect of an end. On this journey, we will swim across the North Pacific with migrating salmon, struggling against the current to find their way to the pebbled beds of their natal streams on Sakhalin Island. Back on dry land, we will follow herds of Persian gazelles as they return to the lush grasslands of southern Turkey. There, beneath a pot-bellied hill, we will find their buried bones and their images inscribed onto monolithic stones that marked a ritual gathering place, older than the hill itself. And as we trace the criss-cross tracks of fish and birds and mammals following the cycle of the sun and moon, we will see in the imprint of our once nomadic footsteps the tread of pilgrims everywhere and in every age. We will warm our spirits around the campfires of the camel herders of Rajasthan who come to venerate Brahma on the Kartika full moon. And in April we will follow the European travellers who left India over 1,000 years ago. We will watch while they carry their black-skinned saint, Sarah Lakali, into the Mediterranean, held aloft above the waves, with wild white horses of the Camargue providing the guard. Travelling onwards, we will encounter the warrior Alexander the Great, for whom pilgrimage to Delphi or Siwa was the necessary precursor to any battle. And when he dies quite suddenly, in spite of his greatness, we will turn our steps to Alexandria, where his successor built a temple so magical that a new empire might be anchored by its magnetic power. We will look over the shoulder of Nehru, who writes from his prison cell about his love for the Ganga, the symbol of an ancient nation about to be reborn into freedom. And with Mark Twain, we'll watch from the Ghats of Varanasi as departed souls make their way across the world, from this world and into the next, the final liberation. Unfolding a letter from Malcolm X sent from Mecca to his people back home in New York, we can read how at this great Hajj festival he feels so good to be in a place where unity prevails amongst people of all colours and nations. Once an extremist, now tempered by pilgrimage, the freshly named Al-Hajj Malik al-Shabazz will soon return home, only to be assassinated precisely because of his newfound moderation. We will take the Fitchburg Railroad to Concord, Massachusetts, to visit the hut on Walden Pond, where Henry David Thoreau once read the Bhagavad Gita, as he sought to understand the meaning of life, and like the great Scottish-American naturalist John Muir, we will wonder why this little plot on the outskirts of a Boston suburb could ever be considered a hermitage. We will stand in awe as the Jewish diaspora come together in Jerusalem to celebrate Passover at the Second Temple while it still stands, and centuries after it has fallen, we will watch the flow of Muslims, Jews and Christians who continue to congregate in the city, which was once thought to be the centre of the earth. We will watch as a procession of Shia Muslims, together with people of all faiths, pass by on their way to Karbala for the Arbaeen festival, their needs for food and water met by local people along the route. And in Amritsar, we will wait in line at the Guru Kalangar as the spicy steam rises from the huge pots of vegetable curry and dal that will feed over 50,000 pilgrims a day, free of charge.